Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I guess we can have a mic in the room. Is it? Let's people. Do you have an extra mic? Who want to start? Yeah. At the back there.
My name is Veronica. I'm from Coded, which is Hong Kong's own fashion. My question is for Oscar Richard and for Phil. Anthony.
Yes.
My question is, do you find it preferable or more beneficial for your businesses to take your social media blogging capabilities in-house, or do you think you benefit to use external bloggers and interact with those other guys, such as the other people in the room?
I'll start. I think we actually do most of our blogging in-house. One lovely girl sitting in the office, and it's labor intensive. People probably underestimate it, but it is a very labor intensive job. But also what we do, and I think that's the beauty of social media, that we actually collaborate with other people, that we believe in that they represent our brand as much as we represent them. And what it actually does in order to collaborate with other people, you actually expand your network. So if you include their web links, they have their followers and they will check out your brand. So I think both are, try to do things yourself as much as you can. But don't, I think the greatest benefit is also to other people or other brands and collaborate with people and be very positive online, because like doing business, like for everyone, you're not going to be negative and then slag off everyone in the business. It's not going to help me, and especially online. Be really, really positive. People appreciate it when you talk positive about their brand and will get back to you.
We generally run the Facebook in-house, but we do outsource to bloggers. Generally, they have a wider audience, and they have a captive audience. People read their blogs every day, and they will be my exact target audience. So essentially, I could send a blogger a piece of clothing, and it costs me as much as it costs to send it and to produce it, but they will hit my target market. And some bloggers get 60,000 hits a week, so that's 60,000 people that could possibly see my clothes that are my exact target market. I mean, I could pay an advertising agency 100,000. They would hit my target market, but they would hit a whole load of other people that I don't want to hit for a lot more money. So yeah, we both in-house and out.
Hi, I have a question for Jasmine. I know we've talked a lot about the different social media platforms that you're using today, but can I just ask a question about when you first started out on your journey, starting out the brand, starting out your website, what did you do to kind of get the followers in the very beginning and build the brand? Was your friends first, and then their friends' friends? What else did you do to kind of be out there in the very beginning? Thank you.
It was really hard at the beginning. I put in a lot of time, so I was posting a couple of times a day, take my posts and repost them on Facebook. But I have to say, I started getting the biggest jumps when I interacted largely on Twitter, because then I could talk to the people I needed to be talking to and send them my link after that. They would independently go back to my blog after the conversation with them. So I made sure that my blog had enough content on it, that it was full, that it was loaded, that it was changing every day. But then what I needed to really hype that up was to chat to people, to the right types of people. So it was my Twitter account that really got my blog up and running large. But it took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort. It's definitely not something that's going to explode overnight. You don't get large amounts of people in one day. You have to really work at it and constantly.
Yeah, I mean, very same story. When we started Sassy about 3 years ago, we were more so an equal combination of offline events and online events. Now it's more heavily online content. But what happened was, we had our monthly Sassy hours, and the first one, I think we had 5 people, and then the next month we had 35 people, and then now we're getting 200 people. So I really think it's, just knowing at some point it's not going to explode overnight, but having the diligence and the commitment to the constant posting. So every day, we made sure that we had at least 2 posts that are going on the website, and they were posted by 10 a.m. in the morning. That was a very strong rule. Because I think if, we were talking about it earlier, if you give yourself the flexibility to just, I'm going to post it, it'll get up there, things start to slide. So I think the main thing is just being very committed and knowing that, as I was speaking about earlier, Hong Kong is a small place, so I know one of the great things that benefited us is the power of spreading the word. But it does help with making sure that you're posting things constantly on Facebook, getting the awareness out. Also, I think one thing that we kind of talked about earlier is making sure that you're really looking into your analytics, but also making sure that you have very good search engine optimization. I know a lot of people come to the Sassy site just by searching for a restaurant in Hong Kong, and then they land up on our site. So making sure that there's little tweaks in place that ensure that people are going to come across your website, even if they didn't mean to in the first place. And then just also kind of dedication, commitment that someday it's going to all fall into place.
Sorry, I actually just remembered something. As a fashion stylist, I often pull together fashion shoots, and I work with a lot of different people, and that helped me hugely as well, collaborating with other people. That it just expanded my reach that much more, and it also my blog gave me something I could give them back. So when I was first starting out and I needed a makeup artist to help me out, I couldn't pay them, but I could give them, I could blog about them. I could give them space on my site, and that collaboration meant the world to getting my voice out.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I have a question for both Jasmine and Jennifer. Actually, Jasmine mentioned about trending, and that kind of brought up the idea of what's the next trend? I mean, where do you guys look to see what's coming up? Because obviously these things don't necessarily have the longest lifespan. So my second part of the question is which brands, 1, 2, or 3, in terms of top brands that you think are using social media well, are watching what's the next trend, and who do you think that we should be looking at for examples?
Say, I think there are a couple of top brands that they are really really making an effort. One is Burberry. I think they really committed in making interesting content just for social media. They talk about the live show that broadcast to the world, and that give an access to everyone to have a look at the collections. And they also invite their designer to tweet, and that's they don't need to pay for it to do that, because that's something very interesting and exclusive. I think you offer something exclusive in terms of content that is interesting to most of the audience and very important. And I think Cartier is also is very innovative in Hong Kong, especially. They are very open-minded in terms of engaging with the social media as well. When we take a fashion shoot with them, and they are pretty okay to have some behind the scene giving us, so that we can post on our Facebook and on our blog, and I think they really, most of them, they are a little bit conservative in terms of they limit us to use some photos that are not official, and that actually for these brands, they are really care about giving us exclusive content, interesting content that is not seen everywhere. I think they are doing quite well. You can actually, of course, they have agency work behind them, and then there are a whole team actually helping them maintain that as well.
Does anyone know Clout? Clout? Yes, one. Jay, tell me if I'm getting this right, but the right way to explain it is Clout basically, compiles all your online influence, basically. So it looks at who's following you on Facebook, how many Twitter friends you've got, or your general interaction on different social media platforms, and it gives you a score. You might find it very cool. But if you actually go onto Clout, you can see who the highest scoring brands are. So that's a really easy way, kind of, not just brands, but people. So it's a really neat way to go and see who's at the top of social media. Here in Hong Kong, Jay, down the back, actually runs a group called Hong Kong Social. It's here once a month, and it highlights what's happening globally in social media. It's a really neat way to just be on top of everything, because yes, it changes. Social media grows quite rapidly and quite fast, and you need to know all of it, and you need to be quite active with all of it if you're going to make the most of it. So going to Hong Kong Social or something like that is a sure way of knowing what's out there and knowing what's going on without having to sit on Google for 5 hours. It's nice and quick.
Just one quick note about content. If you start doing social media, be ready that your content just spread. But I mean, if you want to keep power over your pictures and your text and your movies, I mean, don't do social content, because social media is an invitation to share and spread. But just keep an eye on where your pictures are. There's a great tool on Google Images, where you can find all your pictures back. And if you find them on some weird website that have nothing related to what you do or your brand, just ask the site owner to take them down. Any more questions? Yep. One more question.
Em có question for something like